Keyword could have.
I guess should we talk about their boss or something, or should we just get on to the villains?
Yeah, their boss, Zodavia. She was voiced by Candy Milo, who is best known for her voice work on Tiny Toon Adventures, SWAT Cats, Dexter's Labs from Season 3 onward, Chalk Zone, Jimmy Neutron, Kids Next Door, and more. She has a very long list of voice acting gigs. Her most notable ones, though, were Angora from SWAT Cats, Black Canary and Batman the Animated Series, and let's see here. She actually voiced Dexter in Dexter's Laboratory. Go figure.
Yeah.
Oh, anyway. Fun fact, she also voiced the headmistress in Mucha Lucha.
It's funny if you think about it, because Zodavia and
the headmistress, it doesn't sound right, but it's true. She also voiced the Flea.
It kind of does sound. It does sound right if you think about it, because Danger Doug voices Ricochet, and Zodavia voices the headmistress, and you know how those.
Yeah, also the Flea.
Yeah.
Also the Flea, and Ricochet's mom.
She voices the Flea, huh?
Yes.
The Flea is that nigga. He's a.
He don't give a shit.
Flea's the best character. He's the nigga.
Okay, but moving on.
Right. What do we say about Zodavia? She's very unique. She's got a very good backstory, if anything.
Kind of has the best development, I might say.
She was basically like, if the Loonatics were Power Rangers, Zodavia was Zordon. That's the best way I can honestly describe that.
Yeah, for most of the entirety of Season 1 to the end, and the beginning of Season 2 and all, she was mostly the Zordon of the group until later, till they finally see her what she was. Then she was mostly in the lunatic space a lot.
Yeah.
Basically put, long story short, she was basically a runaway from her home planet because her brother was an absolute douchebag who wanted to control the entire universe.
Like every cliche villain out there.
Yep.
It gets worse, actually, if you think about it. It turns out, it was revealed at either the end of Season 1 or the beginning of Season 2 that her brother was single-handedly responsible for the meteor that hit Acme Metropolis in the first place. And attempt to kill her, by the way.
Right, but I was trying to make a point, like how most cliche villains always want to just take over the world.
But yeah, I'm just pointing out, her brother's a complete dick.
Well, I'm sure. Well, aren't there a lot of complete dicks in most shows nowadays when it comes to villains?
True, but then again, to be fair, in his defense, he did actually, he actually did, kind of, I guess, improve himself. He realized he was in the wrong eventually. There's that.
Yeah, like at the tail end of Season 2, I believe.
So, yeah, so for me, let's just say, okay, so I guess we talked about the heroes. Should we talk about the villains, or should we talk about what we sort of like throughout the show?
Well, we can go with some of the villains. There are a number of villains, and because of how Lunatic Season 2 was all over the place, introducing villains left and right, I think it's only fair we introduce some of the more major villains, because a lot of them were just one-offs.
Yeah.
Talk about more major villains, or talk about villains we like, actually?
What about the villains we like?
Okay, how about we'll do that instead of introducing the major villains. Alright, so this is going to be a lot of left field for me, but the villain I liked the most was Deuce.
I don't blame you.
Same.
He was actually one hell of a villain. I just find his motivation was really piss poor.
Yes, his motivation was piss poor, but his introduction and how he shown he was evil was interesting to me. Also, fun fact, Crossy's mentioned this and I mentioned it, he is the same voice actor who voiced Cyborg in the original Teen Titans.
Booyah!
So if anything, hearing Cyborg coming out of his mouth, it's just like seeing a cyborg that's gone bad, and which is funny.
Well, that did sort of happen in the original Teen Titans Season 3, I remember. But we'll talk about that later when we get to the original Teen Titans.
And in the case of... Honestly, like I said, Carrie Payton was who, by the way, is the voice of Deuce and voice of Cyborg in Teen Titans. And apparently Teen Titans Go, if my information's right. Essentially, it was kind of disconcerting a bit hearing his voice come out of, hearing a cyborg's voice come out of a villain's mouth. It was a little bit disconcerting, but I got over that very quickly. And Deuce, long story short, is a former general of Zodavia's home planet who basically went rogue because he wasn't basically given full control over the army that full control over the planet under his military command.
Basically, he wanted war.
Not just that, but he basically when there was a revolution happening on the planet, his army was nowhere to be seen. In other words, he basically he essentially abandoned his post.
Anyway, yeah, so he basically got rogue and stuff because he wanted war and everything.
That was his biggest motivation. He just wanted war. One villain I actually liked was actually Optimatus. Granted, he was a cliche as fuck villain, but what won me over with him was actually how devious he was.
Yep.
He manipulated pretty much everyone until he finally got a taste of his own medicine. Then he actually changed for the better.
Yes, but funny enough, that the most important information, what's his name again? I forget.
Optimatus?
Yeah, Optimatus. That him and Zodavia are brother and sister. We forgot to mention that.
Yep, the same evil brother who tried to nuke Acmetropolis with a meteor and almost succeeded. And keep in mind that no one knew it was him and Zodavia only had, at best, an idea of what was going on. This guy knows how to stay hidden. Give him credit.
What about you, Crossy? Any favorite villains?
I kind of don't have any favorite villains. Fuck.
That's
fair enough. There weren't that many notable ones.
I mean, like I said, once you watch the show, guys, like the series, the stuff is good, but the development is just all over the place to pick up. We'll
explain that in a minute, but for now.
Oh wait, there's one other villain I actually did like to an extent, but this is only to an extent. Pinkster Pig.
Oh God.
No.
So for those who don't know, well, hang on, let me explain this real quick before you say it. For those who don't know, when Hazard was explaining about how Daffy was an orphan, he had a friend with him, and that was Pinkster Pig. And Daffy and Pinkster were friends in that orphanage, and Daffy did use the two-sided coin, which felt bad, and there was an episode about him where Daffy wanted to make him look good and try to help him out any way he can. But turning out in the end, he was a real asshole. He was an evil villain, and he basically betrayed and broke Daffy's friendship since the very beginning, which kind of hurt Danger Duck, which is kind of sad for Danger if you think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Danger was clearly, like, if you ever watch the episode in the Pinkster, Danger was extremely heartbroken knowing that he may have unintentionally contributed to making a villain out of his best friend.
And the worst part about it was, he didn't even say, and what worse about it was, Pinkster says he was always born bad. And when he said he was using Danger Duck's friendship and shit.
So that made it even worse.
So, you will feel bad for Danger, but other times not so much, but probably that episode when you found out that his only friend in that entire orphanage, when they didn't get adopted, just turns out bad and stabs you in the back.
Figuratively and almost literally.
Yeah, and it kind of made us feel bad for Danger when we watched that. I cannot lie for us when we felt bad on that one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was a thing.
I guess we could talk about the shows we liked, and then we'll get into what we didn't like.
The episodes, by all means.
Well, not the episodes, like what we liked about the series. The animation was good, I will give it that.
Very.
For a show that was in the 2000s, like Megas, it was really good. They were designed well, and even after like 2 redesigns and shit, they turned out great, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, but let's not forget, if you recall, the Loonatics did go through a couple of redesigns before they even aired, and at one point, there was actually a petition to stop the show from ever airing in the first place.
Yeah. But like I said, even with that, with all the redesigns and stuff before they air it, they seem to turn it out great. It just didn't seem to last long.
Yeah.
Another issue was that Warner Brothers basically they flat out, all but outright admitted they didn't care for the series itself. And despite the fact that it actually had a decently successful run, that's not enough to apparently motivate Warner Bros. To make a third season ever again.
Yeah.
Which we don't blame them, and we can understand why after watching season 2. So,
season 2 was meh at best, in my opinion.
We'll discuss more about it. But for now, focusing on them, the characters were great. I'll admit they made the characters very well. They seemed to portray them. Some were a little more off than others, but they did their best in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But it felt like some could use improvements.
Yeah.
But hey, room for errors. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So you guys could be wondering why we're talking about bad about season 2. Okay, so let's discuss about season 1, shall we? Before we talk about season 2.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Okay, season 1. Sure, it seemed to start off the weird at first, but it was really more focused, and it had a good plot to go with it, and everything. Like, it followed through, and it always seems to connect one way or another, especially with the ends of season 1, with the part 1 and part 2 of it, which was very good, by the way.
Mm.
Yep.
And we introduced Zodavia's brother, Optimus, or whatever. And
Optimus.
yeah, and it kind of pulled through and stuff. We like the intro for season 1 and everything. It's very unique.
It established it well. Like, it established that it wasn't just, it wasn't the lighthearted Looney Tunes we knew. It was something that still had the flavor of Looney Tunes, but something else added to it.
Yeah, like a mixture between the original Teen Titans and some action shows in between. Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
If anything, if you just put Looney Tunes in an action adventure game or something, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
But we could all agree we prefer season 1 over season 2. Ain't that right, guys?
In terms of developments, definitely.
And I could say, even though we'll probably discuss this later, my favorite episode still is the one where they show their backstories a bit, because that got me more interested knowing about the characters and how their backstories a bit, learning about them, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Though I have to put a detraction on them because they waited 6 episodes before we got an actual backstory out of it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Even though we had to wait 6 episodes for it, but
Granted, some series have been guilty of waiting 2 or 3 episodes. That's one thing. But 6 episodes, I have to have a little gripe about that.
That's fine,
I mean, granted, some shows wait an entire season, but I digress.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Is there anything you guys want to say about season 1?
Well, like, for me, it was kind of like a build-up season, like, to show the characters, to build up the characters to make you, like...
To flesh them out?
Yeah, to flesh them out. Like, to make them get attached to to make you get attached to the characters and all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm. And what about
Go
you,
ahead.
Hazard?
Well, I was about to say, I liked how they actually built up the villains of Season 1 because it actually made sense. A lot more sense than Season 2's build-up of villains.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you actually can get behind the motivations of some of the villains in Season 1. Specifically, Weathervane and, to an extent, Mastermind.
Yeah.
Weathervane, to be fair, her powers... Put it this way, she is a villain version of Storm from the X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
And to be fair, her motivation for being a villain was constantly getting shafted by by the network she worked for.
Mm.
In favor of essentially a freaking diva of a weather lady.
Yeah.
And she just wanted to get her chance in the spotlight for once.
Okay.
And when she was denied that yet again, obviously she had enough.
And I don't really blame her, but was it too much to ask for a little credit or a chance at stardom? No.
Or at least a little credit because she does put in the work.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just Weathervane. Mastermind, it's both good and bad with her. Like, on the one hand, she wants to do better for herself, but at the same time, her method involves basically stepping on others and robbing them of their achievements for her own end.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Especially how...
Which Tech was obviously against.
which almost turned their college professors into vegetables. And again, once again, Tech was able to save the day.
Here
Yep.
I come to save the day.
I guess now we can talk about why we badmouth about season 2. Alright, what we can say about season 2 is that when... Okay, let's just say this. Alright, shush. I just want to say this before we talk about the big problem with season 2. Season 2 was just all over the place. Like, we know we say Megas was all over the place, but Megas does it better than this.
Yeah, like...
Megas actually had a fixed plot line. You actually saw development with the characters more than, the series of events.
Exactly. And as for season 2, it just felt, I don't know, rushed? Would that be a good word for it?
Rushed, and essentially, I think the writers were just pulling shit out of their asses at that point.
Yeah.
So because they were contracted for 2 seasons, so they had to, I guess, write something. I'll give season 2 some credit in terms of how they did the finale.
Yes, that was the only good thing. But with season 2, they gave us villains that were just out of nowhere, really. Like Elmer Fudd as a bounty hunter, freaking Sylvester as a space person trying to capture a
space pirate, or basically assassin, or would-be assassin, I guess.
And a Marvin the Martian descendant and all that. It's just the villains that we would have expected in season 1. They just put them out of nowhere. Like they gave them an episode about them, which just seems out of place a bit.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of villains could have easily been in season 1, and it still would have been fine.
Yeah.
I mean, if anyone remembers Granny from Sylvester and Tweety, her descendants turned out to be a villain, basically. And not to mention, this was actually a reference to Darth Sidious from Star Wars, hilariously enough.
Funny enough.
It's the last person you'd expect. This woman was supposed to be essentially a royal senator, so it's kind of fitting in a way that she turned out to be the real villain.
Yeah.
It's funny if you think about it, though.
I mean, granted, she's not the main villain, but...
No.
Well, there you go.
If anything, season 2 gave us a good villain, which was, again, Deuce.
Yeah.
Who was an absolute douche, no pun intended.
But yeah, Deuce was a very good villain, surprisingly. Like, for a
guy who was second command, yes.
Yeah, and for a thing that was out of place was the season. He was really well written a bit, figuring out what his motivation was. And
go ahead. I'm still thinking. Go ahead.
Though the three of us can agree that the one thing we didn't like about season 2 was the intro.
It doesn't get rid of the pain, but it does make it hurt a little less.
What can we say about the intro? Let's just. I don't want to. Like I get it. It was it's supposed to bring in the kids and all that stuff. I mean, it just took away.
They could have done just fine by tweaking the first season intro. Nobody would have given a shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to compare the season 1 intro and the season 2 intro, like you just put a clip here of season 1 intro and season 2 intro here.
Or
season 1 did better.
Or adversely kept the animation from season 1, from season 2, and just simply used the music from season 1. It would have been fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, or don't use the music at all. Just keep the intro, if anything, from season 1, because that would have worked well. But
they made it. They tried to make it lighthearted. I get it, but too lighthearted in my book.
I get it. It's not that we don't hate it. We just lost interest, and it just almost makes us lose interest in the show, because Loonatics Unleashed is supposed to be this action-adventure thing, where that intro makes it more Looney Tunes, if anything.
Yeah, kid-friendly if even, which, yeah.
But we could say, if anything, I think the three of us can only agree the episode we liked about season 2 was sort of the finale, if anything. What do you say?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like you said, Deuce was a good villain. It's just, and let's not forget, Optimus was supposed to be the main villain in season 2 as well, but Deuce threw it out the window.
Yeah, I made
like just yeet.
He
basically,
literally yeeted Optimatus into a jail cell.
yeah, basically when we were watching this, I was just like, how much you want to, I was like telling these guys when we were watching this episode, I was like, how much you want to bet that Deuce is going to betray Optimatus and somehow kick his, turn his back
Yeah,
on?
but
And they
you
were like,
also,
"It's
to
possible?"
be fair, you also did bet Optimatus was going to backstab him one last time, which didn't happen.
Yeah, no, I didn't really say that. I was going to say, how much you want to bet either Optimatus or Deuce is going to backstab each other, because villains never work well with villains.
Mm-hmm.
Very
Because
true.
Here's the thing, if you guys know about villain team-ups, they never last long like hero team-ups do.
Trust me. Yeah.
If they have a common goal, they know, if villains have a common goal, they know it won't last long because only one person, because both Deuce and Optimus want to both rule the world, but they both know neither one of them is going to be able to achieve that goal if one of them's there. So one of them had to do it, and it was Deuce.
Mm-hmm.
Evil cyborg, y'all. Evil cyborg.
Uh-huh. Not to mention, if you think about it, I had flashbacks to the Brother Blood episode of of Teen Titans, if nothing else, because Deuce was just as bad as Brother Blood.
Yeah.
Yeah, but think of it in a weird, twisted way where Brother Blood was the good guy and Cyborg was the evil bad guy, like Brother Blood.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's the scary part.
That is scary.
Sends shivers down my spines a bit. But yeah, we liked Loonatics for what it is and what it could have been. We just felt like it was.
It could have been better.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. It was a good show. It made us laugh. It had its moments, and we
Mostly
enjoyed
positive
watching.
reviews, by the way.
I mean, we're not trying to start anything. If you guys like season 2, that's fine. But we're just saying it in our opinions.
Yeah.
Like I said, like we all said, season 2 was all over the place, and the pacing was very random at times.
Yeah.
Like,
if anything,
honestly, it felt really disjointed when you compare how season 1 had their build-ups.
Mm-hmm.
If anything, if I was supposed to say if I want to watch it again, I just rather stick to season 1 and not season 2.
Yeah.
I just rather watch all of season 1 than season 2, to be honest with you guys.
Mm-hmm. You're not alone.
So, anyway, I guess that's all there is to talk about, right? Unless you guys want to put your inputs on something.
I think.
Well,
Yeah.
nothing I can think of off the top of my head, to be honest. Like, other than overall, if I were to actually give it a rating system, like a rating score, I'd give Loonatics a score of 6.5 out of 10. Mainly because season 1 won me over, but season 2 again was so disjointed that I couldn't give it a higher score.
Yeah. I mean, I sort of give it a 6 out of 10.
5 out of 10 for me, because season 1 made it better, but season 2 just kind of cut it for me. So it's a half for me. And if anything, if it's Loonatics, as the question is always for the Retro Warriors, does the show hold up today? Kind of. It's a big kind of.
Somewhat. I mean, like I said, there were good development points, but because of the disjointedness of the series, especially the second half, I couldn't get into it as much as I would have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we would have liked to get into it more, but season 2 just kind of killed it. If maybe if there was a season 3, make it sort of like season 1 with build up and character points and story plot, if anything.
Yeah.
I mean,
Not to mention, introducing so many villains really threw it off track. I understand they want to incorporate a lot of the descendants of the Looney Tunes characters, and I applaud them for that. The way it was handled, though, I feel like it could have been better.
Yeah, they just kind of took a wrong approach at it, because they just dropped them in out of nowhere instead of giving them a backstory for it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get the Elmer Fudd one because there are a generation of Fudds that, well, sort of get it. Because at first I thought he was just there to hunt Bugs Bunny because you know, descendants-wise and everything. And they even showed how past Elmer Fudd's were great hunters and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, but in the end, Elmer Fudd was just a higher bounty hunter, like Boba Fett. So, I digress.
Mm-hmm.
So, if they somehow, which I doubt, and if they somehow brought it back, and, well, maybe if they do a reboot, it'll probably be better than season 2. And that's saying something. But, if they brought it back, make it like season 1 was, please. That's all I gotta say.
Mm-hmm.
So,
It wouldn't kill them too, to be honest.
Yeah.
yeah, I know the whole Warner Brothers won't allow it, but I'm just saying if they somehow did bring it back, that's all I have to say about it. Just make it sort of like season 1 was.
I got nothing more to say. I gotta make my opinion perfectly clear.
Mm-hmm.
I think we all have.
Yeah.
And I already asked the last question for every Retro Wars we have to ask is, does it say meh? it may or may. So, this has been your episode of Retro Warriors. Say your name, peeps.
As of Chaos saying bye-bye.
And I'm Crossover Fanatic, and I just want to say, take care, everybody. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the little notification bell for whether I upload crossover videos, and to check out these awesome Retro Warriors of mine.
Mm-hmm. And this is Justin VA of the guy who does the main voices on Bardic Elite Fire's channel. And if you guys have a suggestion of a show that we could review, please let us know in the comments below. And we hope you enjoyed. And be sure to like, comment, subscribe to us. And we will see you next time on Retro Warriors. We're signing out, people. Later.
Later!
Bye, peeps.
Next time on Retro Warriors.
Oh, freak out!